and that no one really talks about. And it's creating gratitude metrics alongside your business KPIs. Now, why would you do this and what does that look like? Why you would do this is because when you tap into a money or abundance mindset, it's really based off of gratitude. When you can look around you, you recognize all the abundance and wealth that you have in your life, then you're in a better energetic state to attract more wealth and abundance to you in many different forms. Now, if you have gratitude metrics, then it's like, what do your testimonials look like? How are you measuring gratitude in your business? Now, think about that and then see if you can start to incorporate those metrics into your consistent reviews. So instead of just looking at sales and revenue, also look at the areas of your business that touch on gratitude, whether that's testimonials, whether that's team and culture, whether that's your own measure of gratitude for yourself, your peers, your mentors, however it looks for you in your business, see if you can start to measure that. Welcome to Side Note, the podcast, where we get real about what it takes to actually build something meaningful. I'm sitting down with power players and thought leaders to explore what makes us tick. From deep psychology to cosmic insight, from entrepreneurial wisdom to intuitive, divine feeling breakthroughs. Because success is about way more than what's in the business books. So join me for conversations that'll change the way you think about business, life, and everything in between. We are talking about the side of launches that no one talks about externally. And that's the emotional roller coaster of having a launch and the energy drain and how gratitude can be your secret weapon throughout all of this. So I'm literally in the middle of my mastermind launch right now. This is an offering that I've been so excited about, and I've been adding to it over the year, after my own mastermind experiences, and I started to craft this really intentionally. It's a big one. It's a big offering, right? It's a year-long thing. Now, I started the marketing phase for it mid-October. So I'm about a month in. It's been going out. There are a couple weeks left. And I've hit this pinnacle point where I have to let go. I have to surrender to just how the launch goes. And if you're a business owner and you're high achieving and you're high functioning, you know that this is actually really hard to do because you've already gone through so many emotions with a launch. So let's look at, what that is when we look at a launch. Obviously, there are a lot of marketing demands. You create a content surge preemptively before the launch happens. You start tweaking that content as it performs, and you consistently test and learn and see what's working. You've probably set up an email sequence. You've probably ramped up social and supplementary content around it. Maybe you've lined up speaking gigs. Maybe you've optimized the sales page. Maybe you've prepped like a live webinar or masterclass or lesson, whatever it is. Launches are huge. They require so much energy before they start. There are also emotional demands of launches. There's constant decision making. You're managing self-doubt and processing rejection if you get that in the early phase or maybe throughout the whole thing. I know I've had launches that have completely flopped, and every single time I cry so hard because it sucks. It sucks to feel like you've put something out into the world and people don't want it. And you're also trying to maintain authenticity while you're under this pressure of a launch. And maybe you are getting positive feedback. So then you're balancing excitement with detachment, because even if there's a positive surge, sometimes that might not be consistent throughout the entire launch campaign. Or maybe it's a huge success, but then you can't get in your head and float away. You have to remember that you also have to deliver and execute. So there are, managing the energy demands and all of the marketing demands is a lot on your system. And that doesn't even take into account your life. Like right now, if you're watching this, I don't have my plants and lamps and normal things. It's just me and a light because we're in the middle of a move. Our movers come tomorrow. We bought our first house. It happened really fast. And the whole escrow period has been inside of this mastermind launch period. So my energy has been lower than I want it to be. But I've also done all the things in this, what I also like to call launch as a go to market. In this go to market phase, I've also done all the things during it. I've tweaked the sales page after measuring its performance on Hotjar. I've really checked in with my energy, and I know that my mastermind women are applying and coming and headed to this container. I have so much trust and confidence in it, but it's still super scary. I still get nervous that somehow it's all going to fall down or it's not going to work out or I'm going to be pure like 100% rejected at the end of the day. But I think that's just part of it. As a business owner, as a CEO, I've seen CEOs who have tech products that have this exact same thing. And so at a certain point, you have to manage your own energy and just surrender and stop trying to make optimizations and tweak things. Because at a certain point, you really can't tweak it anymore. You just have to let it go. So, some different ways I do this are setting boundaries with my phone and email. I also designate offline periods. So, I really try not to work after certain hours or on certain days. And I've decided to give myself, little windows. Like I genuinely love threads and interacting and answering questions and just connecting with people on there because the algorithm has given me a threads community that I really enjoy. Like talking about like etymology and jokes and it just feels really lighthearted. So sometimes I'll give myself grace and I'll pop into threads if I'm bored in the car while, David's listening to football. So it's figuring out what is that balance for you. Like, what are the areas of work that feel like fun and play and they're not actually work? That's threads for me. So I give myself some breaks too. It's not like I'm making myself adhere to a strict schedule. And physical movement has been a really big thing. So relying on like Pilates at the end of the day, that's been a big one for me. But also mindfulness. That's a huge one for just kind of releasing the pressure valve that can happen during lunch. And especially during, this end of the year phase, doing a launch in November, December, even January can be a lot because again, you're balancing it with all the energy demands that this period of time requires. Another thing here is different reframes or mindset perspective shifts. So something I see a lot is that people they can get kind of downtrodden or discouraged, I should say, when their launch doesn't hit like they want it to. And I have seen this with every client I've ever worked with. It's like they put out a website and they're so excited and it looks beautiful, and then crickets. It's like, well, a new website doesn't really warrant a first page headline of the New York Times. But that new website, that new thing you're coming out with, it will perform. People will notice. But sometimes it's not the July 4th fireworks you were expecting. Another one is just celebrating the small wins. Like, oh, okay, there's traffic on the page. Amazing. Celebrate that. Or let's say you get negative feedback and you ask some people for user research. Hey, I'm curious, like, is this landing for you? I wanted to reach out. I know you follow me and I recently put out this campaign. I would love to get your perspective if, what you think this is based on the content I've been publishing. Just genuinely ask for feedback from peers, from some of your community to see, is this landing? And if you get negative responses, that's okay. If people are confused and not really sure, that's totally normal. If you're the business owner, you've created this and you've created a lot of the content, what happens is our assumptions, our point of view, our blind spots make their way into that content. So this isn't a negative thing. It's just an opportunity for you to make some shifts now that you have clarity from others. Now, another big one here is just a permission to not be on 24/7. And I felt this with my mastermind launch. I have the sales page. I'm putting together, I did a podcast episode about, the power of what can change for you in your business when you get in the room. I did guest podcasts in this launch series. I have created over 40 emails with the help of my team. I have done so many things. Also creating Instagram posts. It's like when you're in a launch, sometimes it feels like constant because you're like, oh, wait, I can do this thing to get it out and I can do this thing to gain exposure. So you need to give yourself permission to not be on 24/7 because you will burn yourself out. And perfectly honest, I have come close to burnout during this mastermind launch phase only because I also bought a home with my husband. And I am so excited about this offering that I felt myself compelled to be posting more and showing up more. But recently it's like, oof, okay, I've now reached that point and I need to take a step back and I need to let go. A big practice that I personally use for this letting go piece, because it can be hard, is a mindfulness practice where you tap into the trust and faith that what you created and what you put out there, you put your energy into it. You have your intentions with it, you have your goals, and you truly tried your best. And people will find it and people will convert the people that it is meant for. That energy you put into it, it will reach the people who are meant for it. And the more that you can trust and have faith in that, and then really let go and come back to your own energy, creating your own space for them to even land in your corner, it all starts to feel more manageable. And you start to nourish this sense of confidence in what you created in the first place. So the more you can get excited about your launch and really hold that, maybe it's listening to music that you listened to when you thought of the original idea or recreating the content. Sometimes that can help just like come back to your why and know that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. Yes, you can also think, okay, worst case scenario, what would you do? And sometimes that's really helpful for people as an exercise. But I find just coming back to the original why energy and really tapping into that confidence around it is the way to let go because you have ultimate trust that whatever happens is meant to happen. Now, there's another piece here that I want to tap into because I really think it's a hack, especially when you're at this end of year period. November, December, holidays, gatherings, celebrations. There's a ton of gratitude in there. Now, there's some other emotions and some stress too, but I want to focus on the positive. The gratitude here. Gratitude for the opportunity to serve as a business owner. Gratitude for your team. Gratitude for your customers and clients that you have worked with all year. Appreciation for all the interactions you've had around your business, networking, mentors, teachers, all sorts of things. Podcast episodes that you listen to that give you an interesting perspective. So when we cultivate gratitude for all the different things that, affect us and our business, it can also help us have that deeper trust and faith that whatever happens with this launch or new thing that you decided to introduce to the world, let it go. Say thank you and then let bigger forces handle whatever is supposed to happen. And then, of course, after the launch, gratitude for the launch itself, gratitude for this whole thing that you put energy into and just seeing what came of it, feeling really grateful for any clients or customers that came through it, and then really grateful for the engagement or the feedback that you got during the process, because every launch you get a lot of feedback, even after stuff starts rolling out. Now, there are ways to not just use gratitude in the launch period itself, but in your business that becomes really powerful in the end of the year. So, what that looks like is if you do have a team, starting team meetings with wins, really sharing appreciation and feedback, not just in your holiday party or holiday meeting if you're virtual, but really making it more of a thing at the end of the year, starting or ending calls with it. Hey, I want to celebrate blah, blah, blah this week or blah, blah, blah with this launch. Just bringing it up more often. Another thing you can do is customer feedback, meaning really instilling gratitude and appreciation in offboarding. Or if you get testimonials, making sure there's feedback or appreciation in that email sequence after they submit a testimonial. You can also do customer appreciation posts or client spotlight posts. I know that I just recorded a podcast with one of my clients, and it felt so good to give her space to shine and to tap into her narrative. And then gratitude for yourself. So I know a lot of people like to do gratitude practices in the morning. I personally like to do a gratitude practice at night before I go to bed. or when I'm in bed before I go to sleep. Because if I'm stressed or thinking about a launch, I'll just quietly sometimes put my hands on my heart and just share gratitude for all the beautiful things that happened that day or that week. Now, different ways you can automate gratitude in your business. You can do authentic thank you sequences. So, this could go to your email list. This could be a celebration ritual for your community via email or in person if you have a community, or on Slack, wherever your community gathers. Or you can do a content sequence that highlights different customers in different ways. And I really do see the feedback loop of this, because when you highlight your customers or your clients, they become evangelists for you too. It's like gratitude truly is like the tide that lifts all boats. Now, we talked about how gratitude can be used in team culture, but this can in meetings, and we talked about how it can be used in your marketing. But there's this third one that no one really talks about, and it's creating gratitude metrics alongside your business KPIs. Now, why would you do this, and what does that look like? Why you would do this is because when you tap into a money or abundance mindset, it's really based off of gratitude. When you can look around you, you recognize all the abundance and wealth that you have in your life, then you're in a better energetic state to attract more wealth and abundance to you in many different forms. Now, if you have gratitude metrics, then it's like, what do your testimonials look like? How are you measuring gratitude in your business? Now, think about that and then see if you can start to incorporate those metrics into your consistent reviews. So instead of just looking at sales and revenue, also look at the areas of your business that touch on gratitude, whether that's testimonials, whether that's team culture, whether that's your own measure of gratitude for yourself, your peers, your mentors, however it looks for you in your business. See if you can start to measure that, because the power of that could have huge ripple effects. So, as I finish out my own mastermind launch experience, this will go through Thanksgiving. The doors officially close for this mastermind on December 3rd. So that's when my launch ends. And I'm going to be using kind of like the love and warmth of Thanksgiving and that gratitude to also pour into the gratitude of my launch and my people and my business, my clients, my team, and all the things that allow me to even speak and deliver this episode to you. So, with that, I hope that gave you something to think about, maybe some inspiration for some different ways you can use this holiday season emotionally for your business, and different ways, a reminder of different ways that your energy and your state of being affect your business at large. Because there's so many connections between your state, how you feel physically, emotionally, mentally, and how your business performs. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave a rating or review. Also, make sure to follow or subscribe, whether you are watching on YouTube or tuning in to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. With that, let me know any ideas that come up here or any thoughts, questions, or comments on Instagram at growwith_Sam. Growwith_Sam. And have a good holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving if you celebrate in the States, or enjoy autumn, enjoy fall, enjoy the change of colors, and we'll chat soon.